And this is Kelly Covert, and the book I chose to read was Troublemakers, Lessons in Freedom from Young Children at School, written by Carla Shalaby. This book was written over a year in two different elementary schools. It follows closely Carla, a former elementary school teacher, as she observes two second grade students, Zora and Lucas, and two first grade students, Sean and Marcus. She also meets the families of each student and observes them in their home setting, allowing the reader to understand the different dynamics of all involved. The author. Carla previously served as director of the Elementary Master of Arts in Teaching program at Brown University and as the director of elementary education at Wellesley College. She started her career as a teacher of grades 4 and 5 in her New Jersey hometown. Carla holds a BA in English from Rutgers College, a Master's of Education in Elementary Education from the Rutgers Graduate School of Education, and an MA and doctoral degree in Culture, Communities, and Education from the Harvard Graduate School of Education. Dadling debut, Carla Shalaby, a former elementary school teacher, explores the everyday lives of four young troublemakers, challenging the ways we identify and understand so-called problem children. Time and again, we make seemingly endless efforts to moderate, punish, and even medicate our children, when we should instead be concerned with transforming the very nature of our institutions, systems, and structures, large and small. Through delicately crafted portraits of these memorable children, Zora, Lucas, Sean, and Marcus, Troublemakers allows us to see school through the eyes of those who know firsthand what it means to be labeled a problem. From Zora's proud individuality to Marcus's open willfulness, from Sean's struggle with authority to Lucas's tenacious imagination, comes profound insight, for educators and parents alike, into how schools engender, exclude, and then try to erase trouble, right along with the young people accused of making it. And although the harsh disciplining of adolescent behavior has been called out as part of a school to prison pipeline, the children we meet in these pages demonstrate how a child's path to excessive punishment and exclusion, in fact, begins at a much younger age. This slide introduces us to the three different teachers that we met in the book. The two that work together are Mrs. Nancy Beverly and Mrs. Jane Norbert. They co-teach in Forest Elementary, which is a suburban setting, and Miss Emily Coogan is a first grade teacher at the Crossroads Elementary, which is an urban setting. As far as Miss Beverly and Mrs. Norbert, they are both veteran teachers. Mrs. Beverly is loud. Mrs. Norbert has a softer style of teaching. They're both strong and patient and powerful. Mrs. Beverly has a clear vision and set of values embedded in her approach to curriculum, pedagogy, and classroom management, and she does not waver in her defense of them. Mrs. Beverly is not to be trifled with. Everyone understands this, including kids, their parents, other teachers, and the administrators. And Mrs. Norbert, by contrast, though equally firm in her values and beliefs, has a softer style. A mother of two children who are students at the school, she has a more empathetic relationship to the community of parents and a slightly higher threshold of patience for children who step out of line. But in no way is she soft. Then you have Miss Emily Coogan, is the first grade teacher. It's her first year in first grade. It's her 6th year teaching. She's young. She has no frills with her teaching. She's patient and quiet. A self-described non-authoritarian, she is a quiet, measured voice with children and is committed to a consistently steady, calm tone. Even when the kids test her patience, which they tirelessly do, she rarely raises her voice and is careful with her language and approach. There was a mention a few times of school culture, which, according to the book, was a difference is defiance, difference is punishable. There were public scoldings, high volume redirections, high standard of academic rigor, high expectations. And the teaching styles between these three teachers were all very similar. In the Forest Elementary classroom, the co-teaching happens between shared classrooms. The students are taught using multisensory techniques. They are also taught to read, write, sing, dance, draw, paint, and learn about nature. A unique reason why some children could never behave enough to fit in was that these two teachers adhered to the rigorous old school way of teaching. There was fun, but only on their time. Requirements such as sit still, don't interrupt, would never land with students who couldn't accept those standards. The three teachers had high expectations and high demands of academic rigor, which don't always mesh well with students who struggle with conformity and rules. Our first grade teacher, Emily, also believed in academic rigor, rigid rules, and behavior codes. She believed in social accountability and strategies that fostered independence. Oddly enough, she didn't use any management system of rewards, just that students learned intrinsically motivated methods. These teachers don't intend to, but they end up removing the spark of a somewhat unique student and try replacing it with conformity. Not all students can fit the same set of rules. And then I chose to include this quote from the chapter about Lucas. It perfectly illustrates how challenging students might be feeling and gives us their viewpoint. It all suddenly feels complicated. He's supposed to know that getting up for a tissue would be okay, but getting up for a book is not. He's supposed to know that his choice of book is superseded by the teacher's at this particular moment in the school day. He's supposed to know that the teacher's not to be interrupted with his questions or reactions, though she will interrupt herself to ask the children questions she deems useful and appropriate. There's so much to understand, much of it quite subtle, but the others, despite their very young age, already seem to get it. On many occasions, I hear him lament after being redirected, "I can't do anything around here." He is learning school. Slide we meet the second graders, Zora and Lucas. Zora's chapter is titled On Being Outstanding. The few bullet points that sum her up: she's charismatic, she doesn't embrace social norms, her parents take pride in being different, she's an entertainer, she's bold, energetic, she's a loner, she's controlling, she's authoritative, she seeks out comfort, and she's rough and tumble. Her efforts to be hyper-visible, though, resulted in the teacher's equal efforts to make her invisible, to redirect, scold, and train her into fitting in more easily with the others. This response from the school meant she was constantly in trouble. Despite her efforts to deliver a funny and entertaining performance, she was most often cast in the part of the troublemaker, assigned to play the role of problematic child of color. In this way, Zora succeeded in being seen, but she was seen as bad. And then we have Lucas. His chapter is titled On Being Pigeonholed. He is imaginative, he's passionate about personal interests, he negotiates for things he wants and refuses to acquiesce, he enjoys his freedom, his parents are aligned with school behavior philosophy, he doesn't like sharing his space with others, he's headstrong, strong-willed, he does his own thing, he's egocentric, which means he can't think outside of himself. He's clever and he's humorous. Despite the challenges he faces with relationships, I see Lucas make many creative social attempts, and his humor is a powerful tool in winning the affection of adults and children alike. He is bold in using that tool, largely because he doesn't seem to have the filter of self-consciousness or even self-reflection. And as you will notice, all the challenging students share that they distract others and work the nerves of the teachers. They also all come from very supportive homes when the parents are aware of their challenges and try to do their best. 2 of the students are being referred for special education services. And then our first student is Zora. She prefers to hang out with boys because they match her style of play. Lucas tends to be triggered into negative behaviors when he is overwhelmed and overstimulated. He isn't self-conscious about his behaviors, nor does he have any self-reflection skills. We meet our first graders, Sean and Marcus. Sean's chapter was called On Being Willful. Sean is willful. He's easily distracted. He's insistent. He's observant, usually a negative observation. He's argumentative, and he needs reasons why. He's stubborn, scattered, energetic. He's entertained by disruption. He's demanding, and he's socially ignored. Sean is seeking social connection and tries many strategies, helpful and unhelpful, appropriate and inappropriate, honest and provocative, to secure it. Disruption plays an important part in his attempts to make friends. He is willing to play disruptive games and get in trouble if it means a good time. He's willing to leverage a classroom disruption to get a peer's positive affirmation. And he is willing to use a disruption to get a peer's negative attention, seeming to prefer it to no attention at all. Importantly, too, sometimes the disruption is a way to cope with hurt feelings. And then we have our chapter about Marcus, and his is titled On Being Good. He's talkative. He's often verbally inappropriate. He seeks out authentic relationships. He desires to be seen and heard, and he needs validation. He engages with strangers. He's curious and inquisitive. He's restless. He tends to avoid work. He loves people. He's charismatic, and he's athletic. Many leading education scholars call for schools to center authentic and meaningful human relationships, empathy, and care between and among both teachers and young people. Marcus's demands echoed these most human of things: to be authentically heard, to be known, and to be celebrated. It's remarkable to see that a 6-year-old offered the very same insights as highly trained and experienced experts, that fundamentally care was more motivating than authority, reciprocal relationship more effective than power, over listening more useful than lecturing, healing more beneficial than punishment. And on the same slide, we have Sean that seeks out special connections with classmates but fails because he uses disruption as his only means. Other students quickly grow tired and frustrated with his antics and pull away from him. And Marcus struggles with his ADHD and is medicated. He has a very rough demeanor with others when he is upset, and that in-your-face response pushes others away. Works cited page along with some helpful links of how to manage a classroom and some special pointers on how to manage maybe kids that need a little more attention. All right, thank you.